You give me the $500,000 and I will let you keep your family jewels.
Well, Wisegal, the script came to me about almost a year ago now. And once I read the script, you know, it's based on a true story about a widow and a mother of two who, in order to make ends meet, she needs to put food on the table, and she gets caught up working for the mafia. And I think originally I was so attracted to the fact that it was just sort of a universal story, which is basically a mother, you know, doing what she has to do to give her children sort of the childhood and the life that she never had. But it's also a movie about choices and how you can make a choice, you know, one day, and then 5 years later you realize that that was probably not the best choice, and how exactly do you rectify that?
I don't have time for this. If we don't get that money home, we're both dead.
You know, I think that when people watch it, they'll just be blown away by the acting. You know, James Caan, who is a legend, especially in relation to mob movies, was just this kind of prankster, jokester when the camera wasn't rolling, and then as soon as the camera rolled, he got really serious and sort of into it and intense. And, you know, Jason Gedrick just is amazing in the movie and was incredibly professional. And we, you know, for the 6 weeks we were all together, we were like a little family. It's based on a true story about a woman named Patty Montanari whose husband passes away, and she has 2 kids and no money. So in order to put food on the table, she gets a job working for the mafia, and they sort of give her a lot of responsibility, and she becomes pretty powerful. She winds up running millions of dollars across the border. And then it starts to have a negative effect on her kids, and she decides she has to get out, and it then becomes her quest to get out. I didn't actually meet her. I didn't want to, which may sound weird, but I felt like I had such a good grasp of who she was from reading the script, and I really wanted the audience to relate to why she chose to, you know, get involved with the mob. But her son was one of the producers on the movie, and he was very supportive and said that I was, you know, doing a great job and nailing it. So I felt pretty confident that I was doing the right thing. I think it was a lot of things. I think the fact that the story is sort of a universal story, which is, you know, just a mother trying to do everything she can for her kids, I think that that's the crux of what the story is. The backdrop is the mob story, and I think that what was so interesting to me is that, you know, we're all fascinated by the mob, but I think that this was sort of a perspective that we've never seen before, and that's through a woman's eyes. And what that enabled us to do is sort of explore the family aspect, and, you know, how that type of family is very loyal and promises to take care of people, and what it really means to be accepted into that world. Well, I was born in Bensonhurst in Brooklyn, so I was, you know, in New York until I was probably 11, and then even after I moved out to LA, I still had to have the New York accent for Who's the Boss, so I'm very familiar with that accent. And plus I was raised by Italian New Yorkers, so, you know, and I thought it was important to not only nail the accent, but also I think that New York Italian women have a sort of different street mentality and sensibility, and I really wanted to bring that to the character as well. I still slip into it every once in a while, but I have throughout my whole life. Usually when I'm upset, I'll sound like a guinea from New York. Yeah, I'm doing a recurring character on My Name is Earl, and my character's name is Billy, and she's kind of this wacky, quirky, free spirit. And her and Earl have a sort of special connection. I don't know if it's going to go into the love interest realm. I don't think that's been sort of solidified yet, so we'll see what happens. I bathe in formaldehyde.
We're talking today with actress Alyssa Milano. You may remember her as Sam from her incredibly successful sitcom, Who's the Boss? But today, Alyssa's all grown up and busier than ever. She joins us to talk about her new movie called Wisegal. It airs this Saturday on Lifetime TV. Alyssa, thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, good morning.
Alyssa, I want to start first by asking you about this new drama, Wisegal.
It's based on a true story, a really fascinating story about a woman named Patty Montanari, who is recently widowed, and she has 2 young boys, and she basically has nothing. She has no money, she has no way of making Christmas happen for her kids, and in order to make ends meet, she takes a job working for the mafia. And she starts out trafficking cigarettes, and it seems like, you know, not such a big deal. But then they give her more and more responsibility, and it ends up after, 7 years that she's actually running money across the border, millions of dollars for the mob. And then it becomes sort of, when the kids start getting negatively affected by her decisions, she then decides to get out.
It sounds like Patty is pretty complicated with tough choices to make. Did this draw you to the role?
I definitely think that the character is very strong and has a lot of street smarts, and I think that that's what attracted me to her. But I think that she's a very basic story, which is, doing whatever you can for your kids, and I think that that's the thing that I wanted to sort of get out there the most. And then the backdrop is sort of the mob story.
You yourself are from Brooklyn, and you're Italian, of course. Did your background play a part in choosing this part?
Definitely. I mean, I think being from Brooklyn and being Italian, I knew that eventually at some point I'd be in a mob movie. So it was about finding the right one. But I think that, there is a certain sort of sensibility and mentality that Italian women from Brooklyn sort of have. So it was very easy for me to tap into that. I was raised around it.
What do you make of the young women in Hollywood today? So many are in and out of rehab and getting in trouble with the law. Is it just the time, or is it our culture?
Well, I think the time has a lot to do with it, because I think that we're in a time where everything is so sort of exploitive, with the paparazzi and the accessibility and it just being available on the internet and there being some kind of demand for it. I mean, when I grew up in this business, I think that the press and the media protected, not only actors' private lives, but also our politicians and our athletes. So I definitely think we're in a different time now. But I do, feel compassion for everyone that's having a hard time, and I think that, I sort of look at it as these people would probably be having a hard time no matter what they did, and I think the business and Los Angeles sort of brings out the worst in people and sort of magnifies whatever is, laying under there.
It seems like there's a lot of pressure to go out and be seen.
Yeah, I never was sort of into that whole going out thing. I think it's because my parents kind of sheltered me most of my teenage years, and I really enjoyed being part of that family unit, so it wasn't very interesting. And plus I was a huge sports fan, so for me going out was like going to the Kings game or going to the Dodgers game. It wasn't about, going to whatever club is hip at that time.